Some of you may be familiar with my New World Order video series. The series was made up by me as a way of demonstrating that conspiracy theories are nonsense. I used the conspiracy theory in a novel that I wrote, and in the novel it's genuine, kind of the way Dan Brown does with his books. He makes everything up, but treats it as if it's genuine in the book. In my series, if you're aware of it at all, it's based on the Vitruvian Man, and the idea that Vitruvian Man, which was designed by Leonardo da Vinci, based on the works of Vitruvius, who was a mathematician. The idea being that the character itself, with the man with his arms extended on a square in a circle, is based in sacred geometry, which it is. It's all written from notes taken by Vitruvius. But I added to it the idea that all of the sacred geometric symbols could be superimposed on it using such things as the Fibonacci sequence, and it's all that all actually works out mathematically. Everything that I said there in the videos works out mathematically. So you end up with a symbol that I call the sacred geometry mandala, and I then show that this mandala can be superimposed on, say, the map of Washington, D.C. To isolate certain geographic regions, and that if you use the tall towers in the United States, in Toronto, the CN Tower, in Seattle, the Space Needle, and in Las Vegas, the Stratosphere, those three towers, which are all similar, they're tall towers with an observation deck on top, making them look like minarets or helmeted cupolas, line up on the thing to, if you superimpose the geometric mandala on top of that, you get an image that looks like this. I then go on to discuss the fact that there are mandalas in other parts of the world, or not mandalas, I'm sorry, other similar tall towers in other parts of the world, in the South Seas and in Asia, and the ones that we find there are in such places as Kuala Lumpur, Shanghai, and Macau, which actually form a perfect line. Tokyo, which is almost on line with a little bit of skew. Auckland and Sydney also both have towers, and those two towers are very close to each other. So it just all seemed rather obscure and interesting to me that if people were building these towers for a specific reason, that they would and putting them where they are, that New World Order types might know about this mandala and impose it and use them as a map, basically, was the idea. I then talk about how in the Middle East there are actually several towers in Azerbaijan, Tehran, Kuwait, and the tallest tower in the world is in I can't think of the name of the city right now, but it's the tallest tower in the world. It's not exactly a minaret type, but there is the tallest tower in the world does exist in the Middle East there. And there's a little city, if you can see my pointer right here. I can't remember the name of that city either right now, but they have it's a very flat area, but their tallest tower is an observation tower, and it actually lines up perfectly with these other towers on this diagram. But then I found out something very interesting recently, and that's what I want to discuss with you here. This is what I found most interesting. It was that there's a pentagram. There's a pentagram in Kazakhstan, which is drawn on the ground. There's no reason for it to be there, and according to this story, it's the site of several Bronze Age settlements and cemeteries and burial grounds. So the fact that this pentagram was put there, and that was only recently discovered by people using Google Earth, struck me as very interesting. So I decided to apply it to my map. So I went to Google Earth to find it, and I found that it's right here on the map, and that location is very close to the Caspian Sea and the Gulf, which is the area that I used when I was talking about Tehran and Kuwait, that area. So I went to my image again, and I superimposed on top of it a larger map that actually included that location. And that location turns out to be right here. I don't know if you can see, watch my arrow, it's pointing, it's right here at this intersection. And that's what everything's about, is where things intersect. It's right here at an intersection on my image of the mandala. But what's most unique about that is, if you notice, my pentagram does not go all the way to the edge of the circles. And the pentagram that they have in their image does also not go all the way to the edge of the circles. See, if you look at their pentagram, it's not going all the way to the edge of the circle. So I went in and I shot all the way down into it. Let me get there first. We're going to head in, and here it comes. Okay, now I tilted mine a little bit so that it's at the same orientation as the rest of the map was. And if you'll notice right here, there are 2 points which are labeled in Cyrillic. You can't read them in English when you mouse over them, but their Cyrillic names show up. There we go. There's a Cyrillic name there, and there's a Cyrillic name on this one too. I thought it needed to come. There it is. There's a Cyrillic name for that. Now, what's interesting about that is that, according to the story, those 2 points that were labeled by somebody, some unknown person, in Cyrillic mean Adam and Lucifer. Now, why would somebody name those 2 points Adam and Lucifer? Well, let's look again at where they are on the mandala. If we look at this point right here, which is where the 2 points are on my mandala, they're at the location. They're at the same point right there where the diagram even falls. Now, that just struck me as odd. It struck me as very coincidental, but that's all that it struck me as. That's the point of this. It didn't strike me as being evidence that I'm on to something. There's no evidence that I'm on to something just because I found a coincidence. I'm not Glenn Beck. I'm not the guy on Discovery with the crazy hair that finds aliens everywhere. Just because I'm able to line something up means that I can use it in my novel as a very interesting point, and that I can say in my novel, which is fiction, that this means something, but it means nothing. Just because something lines up doesn't mean that it's significant. That doesn't mean that there's a conspiracy. Just because there's fluoride in the water and some people think they have ESP doesn't mean fluoride is causing ESP. None of these things that we find in conspiracy theories are evidence of anything. This fact that this lines up so beautifully and seems to validate everything I said, if you take everything I said as being actual research, is meaningless. It's not research. It's a bunch of coincidences that I lined up and made a story up about. And that's all that it is. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.